And then the real headline numbers, the NPVs that you get back. If you're looking at a 40% copper recovery, which is relatively conservative, you've got over a billion Aussie NPV on this project with exceptional IRRs.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Cobra CEO Adam Wooldridge. Adam, very good to speak to you this morning. You've completed a scoping and economic study on your Ngami copper project in Botswana, and it looks very encouraging.
Thanks, Stephen. Really encouraging results. We're really pleased with the outcome of this study. Probably worth just giving a quick high-level background of the history behind the study. So again, this comes off our Ngami project. It's Cobra's flagship project in the Kalahari Copper Belt. We've defined an exploration target on this project in excess of 100 million tons at 0.5% copper. But the key aspects of the mineralization is that it really seems to be amenable to using an in-situ copper recovery process. And just, we've discussed this on a few occasions in previous interviews. So just very high level, all the mineralization tends to be chalcocite dominant. It occurs along extensive strike lengths. We've got a lot of grade continuity. The mineralization is associated with fractures and cleavages. It's fine-grained. We've proven that you can leach the mineralization. It's below the water table, excuse me, and it's bounded on both sides by relatively impermeable layers. So the scoping study that we can talk about now is really derived a lot on the work that we've done over the last year. At the end of last year, we were at a stage where we'd done the desktop work. We'd proven that if we could get this to work, an in-situ copper recovery will put us on the bottom of the cost curve. It would give us a low CapEx, low OpEx solution to extracting the copper from this project. This year has all been about doing the work and proving that it can work. So we've done several stages of hydrological testing over the course of the year. We've drilled injection and recovery wells. We've pumped water along the fracture zone, demonstrated that it flows in the right direction, demonstrated that we got the right permeability. All of this modeling has allowed us to actually model the kind of well field that we would use to extract the copper itself. It's given us information on the well field spacing that we would use to extract the copper. And then at the same time, we've been going through a lot of engineering studies. These started off with a gap analysis, which was really just a sanity check, an independent review of all the data we had and our suggested approach. This was published or completed in February. It was followed up with a trade-off study. We've gone through the process of reviewing lots of different options for mining, underground, open pits, and different options for in-situ copper recovery. And the in-situ copper recovery was clearly the best method that came out of the trade-off study. And this gave us the confidence to go and develop a scoping and economic study on the basis of that to really generate some kind of economic modeling for the project. And these are the results that we're presenting now, and they really are fantastic. You've got low CapEx, low OpEx. It's possible to stage your CapEx as well, which is really useful. You can scale the project, which allows you to de-risk it. And then the real headline numbers, the NPVs that you get back. If you're looking at a 40% copper recovery, which is relatively conservative, you've got over a billion Aussie NPV on this project with exceptional IRRs. You've got over 90% IRR. So hugely encouraging results from the scoping study and really proving the economics in the way that we'd hoped it would work.
Adam, so what are the next steps now that this scoping and economic study has been completed?
Well, look, I think the key for the scoping study is this gives us justification to take the project to the next level. Immediately, we'd like to drill out the first 30 million tons on the project and bring that into category. We only need about 9,000 meters of drilling to do that. So we're hoping to actually kick this project off, the drill project off in the next month. At the same time, we're going to do hydrological testing along the rest of the strike. and we've got leach box tests underway to demonstrate what the recoveries will be in the ground. So we really just want to firm up on the numbers that we're using in the scoping study, and ultimately do a small pilot study with acid to demonstrate that the modeled recoveries we're getting them in the ground. And that basically forms the backbone of a pre-feasibility study, which is what we'll be gearing up for in the next phase of work.
Adam, I hope you'll keep us updated on any progress. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Stephen.
That's Cobra CEO Adam Wooldridge.